From peeling wallpaper and dirty linens piling up.
What happened here?
Oh, oh my.
Damn.
To a filthy kitchen, moldy freezers, and dusty rooms that shocked even Gordon Ramsay.
Are they bullet holes in the wall?
That's mold.
Is now suffering from neglect.
This place is disgusting.
Here's the full story of the Brick Hotel. Hotel Hell's most unhygienic and unforgettable nightmare. From a hotel with centuries of history to a place that shocked even Gordon Ramsay, here's how the Brick Hotel became a nightmare that nobody could ignore. The Brick Hotel is a very old building located at 1E Washington Avenue in Newtown, Pennsylvania. It was built around the mid-1700s during colonial times. The hotel has classic brick walls and wooden features that show its age and history. Walking through it feels like stepping back in time. Its location on Washington Avenue made it a central place for people to meet, stay, and hold events for hundreds of years. Local stories say that George Washington may have even visited the hotel, though no one knows for sure. Whether true or just legend, this story adds to the hotel's charm and makes it feel like a piece of history. Over the years, the building has hosted many events and welcomed countless guests. However, even though the hotel has a rich past, its old charm has not always matched the way it was run in modern times.
We had no idea, zero idea what this business is about.
Today, the hotel is run by Verinder Kaur and her son, CJ Kaur. Neither of them had much experience in running a hotel when they took over. Verinder is very strict and likes to make all the decisions herself. She doesn't always listen to her staff, which sometimes causes problems. Her way of managing is very top-down, meaning employees don't have much freedom to make choices or speak up.
And I've seen her have a short fuse where she wouldn't do that before we bought the place.
CJ, her son, is mostly hands-off. He doesn't get involved much in daily work, which leaves Verinder and the staff to handle almost everything. This combination has created a hotel where rules are rigid, but nothing always runs smoothly. Guests often notice that the service can be inconsistent, and sometimes problems are not fixed quickly because of the lack of teamwork and communication.
It has been a bit of a dictatorship here with Verinder. You know, it's either her way or not her way.
No.
Verinder is a control freak.
Before the hotel became widely known, it already had many problems. Staff turnover was very high. In less than a year, between 50 and 100 employees left the hotel. Such frequent changes made it hard to keep up with cleaning, guest service, and overall preparations.
Call me the crazy lady, which is fine to me. You know what? If I'm crazy because I'm trying to save the business, so be it.
I think we're at that point where this is really our last chance.
But what Gordon found inside was worse than anyone expected, and his reaction would become legendary among Hotel Hell fans. When Gordon Ramsay arrived at the Brick Hotel, he knew something was very wrong. The building had a lot of history, but its condition shocked him. Before even entering, he had already spoken with former staff. They told him stories about Verinder Kaur, the hotel's owner.
I've been through almost 50 managers.
15.
50.
50 managers.
50.
She was strict and sometimes rude. Staff even said she called the police over small problems, like disputes over wages. But Ramsay quickly realized that the biggest issues weren't the arguments, they were what he saw in the hotel itself. The first thing Ramsay noticed was the poor maintenance. Windows were smashed or broken, letting cold drafts through the hallways. Wallpaper was peeling off the walls and covered in dust. Linens in the rooms were dirty and looked like they hadn't been washed in weeks. "This is a health hazard, not a hotel," Ramsay said, shaking his head in disbelief. It was hard for him to understand how a place with so much history had been allowed to fall apart.
Certainly not the entrance with the smashed windows.
Well, I think it could be beautiful.
Yes.
It's been neglected for a while.
The kitchen, however, was the worst part. Ramsay's reactions there were extreme. The kitchen was dirty, unorganized, and completely unhygienic. Surfaces were sticky, pots and pans were covered in grime, and utensils were buried under dirt. Refrigerators held old, expired food, some of it covered in mold. When Ramsay opened a freezer, he saw frozen meat stacked dangerously, creating a perfect place for bacteria to grow. "If anyone eats this, they're going to the hospital," he shouted. He even squeezed a sponge and the dirty water made him step back in disgust.
Can you stop lying? That was not cleaned yesterday.
The menu added to his frustration. Most of the dishes were outdated, with pre-packaged meals and microwaved food instead of fresh, made-from-scratch meals. "You can't serve this and charge people," Ramsay said. He was frustrated that the poor food quality was made even worse by the unsanitary conditions in the kitchen. Guests weren't just eating bland food, they were at risk of getting sick. Ramsey's reactions were a mix of anger, disbelief, and his usual fiery humor. Every corner of the hotel seemed to surprise him with something worse than the last. Sticky floors in the dining area, dusty chairs, and dirty linens in rooms made him shake his head constantly. "This is disgusting," he said more than once. "You can't expect guests to come back when it looks like this."
Look at that. Come over.
Is that mold?
That is mold.
Yes, I said that.
That's mold. See it?
One of the most important moments came when Ramsey confronted Verendar directly about hygiene. He didn't hold back. "This is unacceptable," he said firmly. "Your guests deserve safety and clean rooms. Right now, you're failing them." Ramsey made it clear that the hotel's history didn't matter if people could get sick. Cleanliness and safety were more important than charm or old-fashioned decor.
The place is filthy. What in the...
Ramsey quickly put a plan in place. He told staff to deep clean every room, scrub the kitchen from top to bottom, and follow strict hygiene rules. He emphasized that the kitchen had to be completely safe before they could serve guests. He also suggested updating the menu with fresh, simple dishes that were safe and appealing. Ramsey wanted to make sure the hotel not only looked better, but also protected the people who stayed there. Throughout his visit, Ramsey's anger was clear, but so was his goal. He wanted the Brick Hotel to survive, but only if it could meet basic standards of cleanliness and safety. He showed how serious neglect had become and how much work was needed to turn things around. By pointing out every problem and demanding immediate changes, Ramsey gave the hotel a chance to recover. But it would not be easy.
5,680. That is the volume of live bacteria.
In the end, Ramsey's intervention was a wake-up call. The Brick Hotel's charm and history were not enough to make up for dirty kitchens, dusty rooms, and unsafe food. His reaction was strong, his words harsh, but his message was clear. If the hotel wanted to stay open, it had to put hygiene and guests first.
There's no fire. More importantly, over the last 3 hours, all I've done is a bacteria test.
Just when you thought things couldn't get more chaotic, one drill revealed dangers that went far beyond dirty rooms. One of the most memorable moments during Ramsey's intervention was a fire alarm evacuation. The drill was staged to show the hotel's weaknesses, but it revealed real problems in staff training and management. During the evacuation, staff were confused about what to do. Some didn't know where to go or how to help guests. The drill showed that poor management and lack of training could put people in danger.
This is the owner.
We all ate here, we were all planning on staying here, and you're smiling like a smirk on your face.
What I'm not going to do is just allow.
Verendar's reaction during the drill was also revealing. She became flustered and tried to direct staff in a panic. Ramsey used the moment to show how her failure to train employees properly had serious consequences. "It's not just dirty rooms and bad food," he said. "If something serious happens, people could get hurt. That's your responsibility." The drill highlighted that the hotel's problems were not only about appearance, they affected guest safety as well. The fire alarm exercise also showed why Ramsey had worked so hard to coach CJ and get Verendar to step back. Without clear leadership, staff were unsure of what to do. Ramsey explained that management needed to be organized, supportive, and proactive. Only then could the hotel run safely and successfully. What happened next showed exactly why this hotel was failing, and it had nothing to do with staff using their phones. During Gordon Ramsay's visit to the Brick Hotel, one moment stood out for its tension. Verendar openly blamed her employees for many of the hotel's problems. She said that staff were always on their phones and not paying attention to their work. According to her, this was the main reason for messy rooms, slow service, and unhappy guests. Verendar made it clear she thought the staff were careless and lazy. If they weren't always on their phones, maybe the hotel wouldn't be such a disaster, she said. She insisted that employees should focus more on cleaning, serving guests, and keeping the hotel running smoothly instead of scrolling through social media or texting friends. After pointing this out, Verendar didn't just leave it at blaming. She started giving orders on how she thought things should be done. She told them to check every room carefully, make sure the linens were folded perfectly, and that surfaces were spotless. She also reminded staff to keep the kitchen clean and follow instructions exactly. The way she delivered these instructions showed her strict, controlling style. Employees looked nervous as she walked around, pointing out small mistakes. Some were told to redo tasks immediately if they weren't done to her standards. Ramsey noticed how tense the staff had become. While Verendar was trying to correct problems, her approach caused fear rather than cooperation. Ramsey later explained that blaming employees without proper management was part of the problem. He said that instead of yelling or scolding, Verandar needed to train her staff and create clear rules. Employees needed guidance and support, not just criticism. He pointed out that even hardworking employees can make mistakes if they don't know exactly what is expected or if the management is inconsistent. The situation highlighted a larger issue at the Brick Hotel. Verandar's belief that staff were solely responsible for the hotel's failures ignored her role as the owner and manager. High staff turnover, poor cleanliness, and messy operations were not just the employees' fault, they were also caused by lack of training, unclear instructions, and a stressful working environment. This moment became a turning point. Ramsey used it to show Verandar that blaming staff would not fix anything. Instead, he urged her to step back, communicate clearly, and support her team. Only then could the hotel improve, and employees could feel motivated to follow high standards without fear. By addressing the issue of phone use and management style together, Ramsey laid the foundation for better teamwork. The staff began to understand that while personal responsibility was important, clear guidance and proper leadership were just as crucial to running a successful hotel. After seeing the worst hotel conditions of his career, Gordon knew these changes would either save the Brick Hotel or prove it was beyond help. After Gordon Ramsay visited the Brick Hotel, it was clear that big changes were needed. The hotel had charm and history, but the dirty rooms, bad kitchen, and poor management were too serious to ignore. Ramsay started by focusing on the most important problem: cleanliness. The first step was a complete deep cleaning of the hotel. Every room, hallway, and public area was scrubbed from top to bottom. Carpets were shampooed, floors were polished, and dust was removed from every corner. All the linens and towels were replaced, costing more than $75,000. Ramsey explained that clean rooms and fresh towels were essential. Guests could forgive outdated decor, but they could never forgive dirty rooms. Staff were trained to maintain cleanliness every day. Ramsey said clearly, "If you don't clean, people won't come back. It's that simple." Next, Ramsey helped update the hotel's appearance. The old, outdated decor made the hotel feel dark and uncomfortable. Walls were painted in shades of grey, giving the hotel a clean, modern look while still keeping its historic charm. Furniture and decorations were replaced or updated. The goal was to make guests feel welcome as soon as they walked in. Ramsey knew that good looks alone couldn't save the hotel, but a fresh, modern look would show guests that management cared. The kitchen and menu also received major attention. Before Ramsey arrived, the kitchen was dirty, unorganized, and unsafe. The menu was outdated, with bland food and prepackaged meals. Ramsey worked with the staff to clean the kitchen completely. All surfaces, utensils, and equipment were sanitized. Expired food was thrown away, and refrigerators were cleaned thoroughly. The menu was redesigned to focus on catering for events, which was the hotel's main source of income. Fresh, safe, and simple dishes replaced old pre-made meals. Staff were trained to cook safely and serve meals properly. Ramsey stressed that the hotel's reputation depended on the kitchen performing well, especially during weddings, parties, and corporate events. He said, "If the kitchen fails, the whole hotel fails." Management was another area Ramsey tackled. CJ had been mostly hands-off, leaving everything to his mother and staff. Ramsey encouraged CJ to take a more active role. He showed him how to check rooms, manage staff, and make sure everything ran smoothly. Verandar, on the other hand, had been controlling and strict, which caused tension among employees. Ramsey advised her to step back and trust her team. "You can't do everything yourself," he told her. "If you trust your staff, they will do better work." Ramsey also focused on training staff. They learned how to work as a team, take responsibility for cleanliness, and pay attention to guest needs. Everyone needed to understand that safety, hygiene, and good service were now the most important priorities. The goal was to make the hotel safe, clean, and comfortable for every guest. By the end of Ramsey's visit, the changes were obvious. Rooms were clean, with fresh linens and towels. The kitchen was organized, safe, and ready to serve guests. The hotel had a fresh, modern look, and staff were trained and ready to follow new procedures. CJ was now more involved in daily operations, and Verandar had started learning to trust her team. The fire alarm drill remained a dramatic reminder of how far the hotel had fallen. It showed that hygiene, staff training, and strong management were essential, not optional. Ramsey's intervention had a lasting impact by combining practical changes with lessons about leadership and responsibility. After the deep cleaning, new decor, updated menu, and better management, the Brick Hotel began to recover its reputation. The dramatic moments, like the fire alarm drill, helped everyone understand the seriousness of the changes. Ramsey's guidance gave the hotel a chance to succeed, but only if the new standards were followed every day. Cleanliness, safety, and teamwork were now the rules, and everyone had to follow them to keep guests happy and healthy. Through these changes, the Brick Hotel went from a neglected, unsafe property to a place that could finally offer guests comfort and security. Ramsey's intervention proved that with proper care, training, and management, even the most troubled hotel could begin to turn things around. But if you thought Gordon's makeover would fix everything, what happened next proves that some people never learn from their mistakes. After Gordon Ramsay visited, the Brick Hotel showed some small improvements. Rooms were cleaner, staff followed some new rules, and the hotel's restaurant was renamed Rocco's at the Brick by 2018. The seasonal menu got a little positive feedback, giving hope that the hotel could improve. But the progress did not last. Verandar went back to micromanaging and often ignored staff advice. Problems returned, and guests kept leaving bad reviews on TripAdvisor and Yelp. Complaints included dirty rooms, poor service, and unfair practices, like giving the wrong rooms without refunds. In July 2016, the hotel was listed for sale, but the sale failed because of a disagreement with the realtor. As of 2025, Verandar and her son CJ still run the hotel. The hotel's reputation continued to suffer. It did not have an official website, even though CJ has IT experience, which made it hard to attract new customers online. Verandar posted personal updates on social media, but guests were still unhappy. Event revenue remained important, but poor guest experiences and high room rates, 130 weekdays, 155 weekends, meant the hotel struggled financially. The Brick Hotel's story shows the consequences of poor management. Verandar refused to change her controlling style, and CJ did not step up. The hotel could not fix its problems despite Ramsey's guidance. For Hotel Hell viewers, the decline is satisfying to see. It is a clear example of what happens when expert advice and customer feedback are ignored, and it reminds everyone in hospitality that leadership and teamwork are essential. The shocking truth about the owner's background left viewers speechless and asking questions that nobody wanted to answer. Viewers had strong reactions to the Brick Hotel episode on Hotel Hell. Many found parts both shocking and entertaining. One common comment was about the housekeeper, who acted surprised at the disgusting state of the hotel. Fans said this moment was both entertaining and frustrating, showing just how bad the conditions had become. Gordon Ramsay's dramatic reactions also drew attention. People loved the way he walked in and immediately started pointing out problems and destroying unsafe or dirty items. One fan said, "Love the fact he walks in and starts destroying shit," praising his no-nonsense approach. Another viewer commented on the fire alarm drill, saying, "Gordon's demand for pulling the alarm and warning the people," highlighting how he showed the staff the real risk of mismanagement. Viewers were also shocked by the owner herself. Many couldn't believe Verandar had a master's degree in psychotherapy and had worked as a children's therapist for 20 years. Comments included, "The fact that this woman has a master's in psychotherapy is shocking. She is one of the most emotionally unfit human beings who appear to be competent I've ever seen, and I feel bad for everybody who did family therapy with her." Others speculated there was a deeper story behind her lost practice, noting, "She was a therapist for children for 20 years and lost her practice. I feel like there's a whole other story there." Overall, fans were entertained, horrified, and fascinated, reacting to both the extreme hotel conditions and the shocking behavior of its owner. The story of the Brick Hotel is a cautionary tale about poor management and ignored advice. If you enjoyed learning about its rise, fall, and Hotel Hell makeover, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories of hotels and historic places.